and welcome back to Share Your Truth. This is episode 10, and we will be discussing depression. My name is Bridget Marie.
I'm Triana Rankins.
Candace.
Raquel.
I'm Jasmine.
I'm Mika Means.
God, I thank you for the topic of depression, God, and just placing that in our hearts, God. And I thank you for the testimonies that went forward, God. I ask that you would just bless each one of us, God, especially Mika, who's dealing with it right now, God. I ask that you will cover her even now, put a special anointing over her even now. Allow her to hear your voice like never before, God. Replace any negative thoughts with positive thoughts. Even now, God, we know that she's coming out of it. We expect her to come out of it. We expect you, God, to honor our prayers even now, God. I ask that you will bless anyone that's dealing with depression, God, that is watching this episode, God. I ask that you will bless them even now. Send a special anointing. Send special angels around them even now, God. Send someone to allow them to know that they understand and that they understand what they're going through, God, and help them to get through, God. We're praying for them even now, God. We're praying for your peace, God, that surpasses all understanding even now, God. We're praying for your healing, God. We're praying for your blood to cover them in Jesus' name right now, God. I ask that you would just do a new work in each one of the individuals that are watching this episode right now, God. I ask that you would do a new work in them, God. I ask that you will bring them out even now. Bring them out of depression right now in Jesus' name. Help them to fall face down in prayer, God, with you, God, so that they can hear your voice like never before, God. And when they hear your voice, God, help them to know that everything is going to be okay, God, that you have a reason for taking them through the things that they're going through right now, God. And even if they don't understand it, God, help them to understand it, God. Help them to accept it even now, God. In Jesus' name. Amen.
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 All right, this is the interesting one. For me, I have experienced depression, and I tend to be a happy person, outgoing, loving, but it was like a cloud that rested upon me, and sometimes it would stay for a couple of days, sometimes it would stay for a couple of minutes, but I want to say I was maybe 19 years old, and I was going through a breakup, and the cloud was there, and it was like my whole life was shattered. And I just couldn't find how to get out of the cloud, how to break out of the cloud. And no matter what I did or whoever came around me, I couldn't get out of the cloud. And I started to, okay, it'll be over. And I remember it was like 2-week period I wouldn't eat. I didn't eat, and I didn't really want to be around any light. I just wanted to sleep. And then it went to I was drinking. And I would drink every day, party every day, thinking that would make me feel better. Didn't. Then when the person, that I broke up with ended up moving on, I'm like, okay, well, maybe if I get with somebody, I'll feel better. Didn't make it better. So I want to say it was like a whole year of just depression, sadness, doing things that weren't in my character, running, just putting myself in situations. I remember just asking God not to wake me up. Like, I don't want to live, like, I don't want to be here. It's too much. Like, I rather, death is better than this. And I remember I had got so drunk one day and going out with my friends, and I had got a call from my mom. And my mom was like, you need to come home now. And I guess she couldn't tell I was drunk. So I'm like, I can't come home right now, right? She's like, I need you home now. I got in my car. I'm speeding home. I drive drunk all the time because I was drinking every day. So I'm driving, and I fell asleep at the wheel. And I'm on the 110 south, about to get on the 105 east, and it's a little divider. And I was going fast, and next thing I know, I heard him, and I woke up, and I was heading for the divider. Like, I literally almost lost my life. And just certain ways that God carried me through that was just crazy. So then I got to a space where I came back and I was able to get from under that cloud, and I started really because addiction is in my family. Like, I know you can't, when it comes to depression or it comes to sadness, you can't just put alcohol to it, whatever substance to it. It's not going, the problem is still there. When you done, when the high wear off, Whether you under a man or a woman, the high wear off is over. But I got out of that depression and I started stepping out of it. And I would say 2 years later, I had my daughter. And I was cool. But after I had her, I went through a breakup again. And at this point, I'm a single mom. And it was just too much for me. So then I went into a deeper, darker postpartum depression. To where I was just like, I didn't really care about myself. People would see me and then I wouldn't care about myself at all, but my baby be dressed to the tens. She'd be fully clean. The only thing that kept me in that space was seeing her face. Like waking up to see her face is why I lived. And I was telling God again, I was like, I would rather not be here. And I remember I was in a dark space and I just couldn't do nothing but cry. Couldn't do nothing but cry. And I laid on my face in the room and I was like, God, I don't want to live no more. And he was like, I need you to die. Like, I need you to die to yourself. I need you to die to your flesh. I need you to stop thinking because I have a calling and I need you to walk in that calling or else you're going to just be in despair. And when he said that, I'm like, but you got to get me out of this. And I got up and from that day forth, like, I was still depressed, but it was a different type of depression because it was like I had somebody in the fire fighting with me. But then to have, when you're going through depression, to be open and honest and have people that will be there, because I had a friend and no matter, like, it was certain people I didn't want to see me like that because I had my daughter at 21 and I thought I was grown, but clearly I was not. So I had a lot of friends and we was running the streets and doing what we wanted to do, and you know, you think they gonna come to your aid when you have a baby, but life didn't stop. You know what I mean? They going out and stuff, and so they're like, come with me. I can't come with you. I need to take care of my child, right? So I had a friend that got up in there with me, got up in the bed with me, and would just lay with me like, I love you, like you good, you know? So having friends that love you and that'll come into that mess with you and fight with you is important. So if you know somebody that's normally happy, normally outgoing, normally all of that, and then they not answering your calls, they're not returning, they're not opening the door when you show up, that's when you say, I'm in this with you. And like, I have an affinity for anybody going through postpartum depression, anybody going through depression, period, because I know what it feels like to feel alone. Oh, excuse me. But even now, like, I have those feelings sometimes where I just feel alone. And getting ready for this session, I was like, God, like, take me back there to tell me how I was feeling. And then I really went back there, like, and I was like, ooh, I feel alone. Ooh, I feel like I'm not enough. Ooh. And then another, because it's really, I guess you would say relationship-tional depression. I get that. But when I think about going to my 30s, I had depression with that. Because I was like, I'm 29 years old. I'm nowhere where I thought I would be. I thought I'd be married by now. I thought I'd have a house by now. I thought I'd have my own stuff right now. And I had to go through a whole year process where I had to remind myself, like, you are enough. Because I done came a long way. It was a lot of shame during that time of, after I had my daughter, because I had an injury to my back and I had to be off. And I had to go to the county building. The most, like, to me, and I never judge nobody. I never judge nobody. But for me, for them to see Raquel Fairmont call my name on the thing and everybody looking like, Raquel, you ain't here too, girl. That was so embarrassing for me, being on 108th and Central. Hey, y'all. And people could see me in the line. You know what I'm saying? That was embarrassing. I was like, God, like, Raquel, how you let yourself get this bad? And people would tell me, like, I never thought this would be your situation. You know, this is shocking. And I felt like I let everybody else down, but I let myself down more. And so that caused me to be even more depressed. But going into 29, I'm like, not only do you no longer on the county, but you work for the county.
Right.
You done turned it around. I'm like, you have this, you have that, but it's the work that I did in myself that was the most like, okay, you about to turn 30 and it's okay. But I was just like, I thought I'd be in a different space. So depression for me is like a little cloud. Sometimes it stay a little bit longer than it should be. But what I learned was you have to start casting that mess off. Like you have to speak to it, because it don't have no power and it'll lie to you. it'll lie to you and tell you you're not nothing, you don't have this, you don't have that. And that's when you got to speak to it like, no, my Father gave me the power to tell you to get behind me, to get up off of me. Get the hell off me, open the door, and tell it to go. So that's what I started doing, and you got to get into that space where you fighting for your life, because you literally are fighting for your life.
For me, I can't account to one time I call it a wilderness experience, and I talked about it in one of the other episodes. And it was 3 months, and it felt like death. I would literally be in a setting of people and feel like I'm completely alone, and that don't nobody understand me, that I'm not worthy, that I'm not worth nothing. Like that was what the enemy was putting in my mind, and it came out of nowhere. That's the thing where I didn't understand, and I had to, but it's crazy because in those 3 months, that's the closest I've ever been to God in my life. Because I couldn't rely on nobody. God showed me nobody is like me. So if nobody is like me, I'm the only one that can help you in this situation. And I said, okay, God, but why do you have me here? And he showed me the reason he had me in that place was, 1, to rely on him only. And 2, to see that when you come out of this, you're going to have to tell a lot of people about it because they about to go into it. And I said, okay, but why you got to put me through it like for 3 months? That's a long time. It was a long time, and I got stripped of things during that time. I was stripped. I was like in the church. I was in leadership. I was in dance. I was doing the connection group. And all of that stuff had to be taken away. I had to literally sit down, and it was only me and God. And I'm like, but God, why do you have me here? Like, because that's the only question I can ask. And it's crazy because I had to tell people, and my pastor at the time, she said, you in the wilderness? I'm in the wilderness with you. Until you come out, I'm right there with you. And that to me was like, thank you, God. It's somebody seemed like they understand what I'm going through, even though they wasn't going through what I was going through. And then after that, after the 3 months was over, God birthed literally things out of me. The first thing was my first book. The second thing was my marriage. In the year that he took me out, because it was a November, December, January. In April of that next year, I birthed my book. In September of that year, I got married. So he was like, I have to purge you, because when the going get tough in your life, you're going to have to rely on me. I'm going to be the only one. And I think that's why he took me through it. I'm very appreciative of it. You don't appreciate it when you're going through it. And sometimes you don't even understand why you're going through it. But if he allows you to realize why he took you through the things he took you through, you're going to be appreciative of it. So all of y'all who going through depression right now, seek out somebody. Now, I did talk to people. I didn't talk to like a therapist or nothing, but I talked to people in my church. I had a young adult group. I talked to them, and they were there, and they checked on me. Like, talk to your friends, like Kel said. You got to let somebody in, even if it's only one person. Let somebody in. Or God will bring somebody to you, but don't push them away. When he do bring them to you, because those type of people will help you through. They'll be praying for you. Somebody know about what you're going through. They're willing to, somebody is going to pray for you, even if it's only one person, and that can help you come out of it. So that's mine. And it was hard. It was hard. It was hard. I knew if I could talk about it without crying, I was over it. That's how I knew I was completely finished.
That's good. And it's crazy because I'm sitting right here listening, and I'm like, I ain't about to talk. Like, I swear, I'm like, I ain't about to say nothing. But, because I'm going through it right now. So, I didn't want to say nothing because I knew I was going to cry. But going through it, like, I'm very transparent, and I'm like, do I talk about it while I'm going through it, or do I wait until I get through it? And then I'm like, how long I'm gonna be in it? You know, like, I don't know if I'm gonna be in it for 3 months or 3 weeks. And mine has gotten, I'm in postpartum depression. I've been depressed before, but the postpartum is like, oh, this real, you know, like, ever since I had my labor situation and everything that I went through with it, I got better, because I feel like, okay, I came out of, you know, me not being able to walk and all the things that I was going through, so I feel like I'm out of it. And then it'll hit me again, like Yo said, it'll be days that I'll be good, and then it'll be days that I'll be like, no, I'm really still going through it, you know, like, it's days that I'll be like, I feel like I'm not depressed, but then there's days that I'll be like, no, I'm still fighting it. So I have to start telling myself, like, you still in it. You still in postpartum depression. It's not as deep. And I think, for me, it's like, I just feel like right now I feel like my life is like completely 360 change. You know what I'm saying? Like, I had kids that was up and making their own food, making everything, and then now I'm like leaving them at the house. I'll be back, answer y'all phone if I call, and now I got a whole baby. You know, and it's like I'm packing a diaper bag. I have to, you know, pre-plan when it was like I didn't have to plan nothing. I could just jump up and go. So that's right now. That's what's taking a toll on me, because my freedom is pretty much, you know, gone. And I'm like trying to tell myself, like, the older he get, the better it'll get, is what I'm trying to tell myself. But it be days that I be like, why did I do this? You know what I'm saying? It be days that I question, like, was I really mentally ready to have a baby? You get what I'm saying? And I'm battling with it like no other. And being in it, like I said, I wasn't gonna talk. I wasn't gonna say nothing. I was just gonna sit here and probably cry off of all of everything that you guys are talking about. But there's somebody out there that probably feel the same way that I feel. And I don't want to be, you know, I don't want to be the one that's like trying to harbor stuff in, you know. So even when I have clients come in my office and we cool, I'll tell them, like, bro, I'm fighting postpartum depression. Everything that I'm playing, because how easy I say it, or how easy it'll come out my mouth. And they be like, girl, stop. And I'm like, no, I'm serious, you know. And this one client came, and you know how you just get a feel for people? Her vibe always been good. And I start crying to her. A client that's getting in Texas. I was like, oh my God, I'm really, you know, I'm really fighting it. And I try not to. And the thing is when people don't believe you, you know what I'm saying? Like, when people feel like you ain't depressed. Why? Because I still put on, get dressed, and I still know how to make myself, you know what I'm saying, kind of feel good. Like, I appear to be okay. But I'm probably not okay. Just because I'm not drowning and not taking baths or not doing my hair or not upkeeping, I still got a problem, you know. So I just want to say, for anybody out there that's fighting depression, like they said, don't do it alone, you know. And it's normal. And that's what I'm trying to teach myself. Like, at first it was embarrassing, like, I don't want to talk about it, or I don't want people to think that, you know. I always try to be the strong friend, and then I tell myself, like, I'm not that strong. You know what I'm saying? Like, when is it that I'm going to need somebody? You know? So I'm like knocking down my barriers of not talking about it, feeling like I don't need nobody, you know? So that's another thing. Like, just, you know, don't be ashamed of it, because you never know the person that's sitting next to you may have been there, or they may be going through it. And I tell people, because I want a solution. I want somebody to be like, try this, or, you know, try that, and so that I could get out of it faster. So that's why I like to share it and be real with people. Like, girl, you know, so somebody could be like, well, I did postpartum depression too, or I, you know, and this how I did it. So that's all I'm still going through it, and I'm ready to. I don't want to go through it for 3 months, and it already been 6. My baby about to be 6 months. You know what I'm saying? I was in postpartum depression when I had him. Him had to stay in the hospital. Me can't walk. Me had to go to the hospital to see him. Not coming home with your baby is something not. I got 2 kids and I never experienced that. Yeah. So I'm thinking about me having 2 kids. It's gonna be a walk in the park. Shit, I'm sitting there like, what the hell I was doing? Like, so it's hard. You know what I'm saying? And I'm learning each day. And I get up every day. I tell myself, get up. I don't care if you're getting up, cleaning up the kitchen, or so I'm getting up because I'm not about to sit. Even Sunday when I couldn't come, I felt like shit. Like, I was like, I would have been there, no doubt. You know what I'm saying? If my kids in the room ordered them some pizza, made them something, I would have been out. But now I'm like, I'm really just stuck, But that's when I really started feeling it, like, oh yeah, it's real, So
I don't think you should look at it as being you stuck. I think you should look at it as like, God, what did you have to have me sitting down for at this point? Because remember, you like, right when I dropped him, oh, it's cracking around here. And God is like, but I'm sitting you down. And that's the thing. You gotta, why are you sitting me down? Because I thought I was about to be popping. I thought I was about to be partying out here doing everything. And it's the opposite of what you thought. But you can't stop saying that you stuck, because you ain't stuck. You're not stuck.
And that might be what it is.
He's sitting you down.
He just told me the same thing. He's like, I am sitting her down right now.
For a reason.
I am sitting her down. Like, he is really about to do a new work in you. Like Kel said, she had nobody else to rely on but God. Bridget had nobody else to rely on but God. That's where he has you right now. So he had to sit you down. Sometimes when we get in his way and we get in our own way, so that he has no other choice but to sit you down.
That's good. That's right there.
And it's gonna be good, and that's why he said all things work together for your good. His grace is sufficient.
That was good. Because now that you, like I said, that's why I like to hear, because when you saying that, even when I had my baby, like you said, when I was pregnant, I used to be like, no, I'm there. I was going to be at everything. Invite me, you having a party, invite me, you having.
When I first met you, I'm like, she was like, oh yeah, I'm having this baby, and then we shooting. I'm like, you sure? Yeah.
I don't even think she's like that.
I'm sure.
I was give you 3 months.
Girl, she even needed 3 months. She's like, give me 2 weeks. Give me 2 weeks, I'm good.
And now that y'all saying it, I'm thinking to myself, that may be what's going on.
And you have to change your perspective and the way that you look at it. We all do. Like, we all look at things how God don't, like how God see them, we don't. We look at it as it's something bad, as it's something negative, as I'm being attacked. But God is allowing all this to happen for a reason.
And I'm gonna say this. I'm not in the dark space where I feel like I want to commit suicide. I'm not there. And I thank God for that. And I'm not in the space where I feel like that I'm still positive, and I am still looking at things for what it could be. Have I grasped it? Have I held on to it? Do I feel like he probably is sitting me down? Yeah, that's what it is. No.
Yeah.
Right. I don't. But I am still positive. I am still asking him, what are you trying to show me, instead of why do you got this going on with me? You know what I'm saying? So I thank God that I'm in a positive space with my postpartum depression, because I could easily be in a negative space with it. I could be to the where I don't feel attached to my child. And I could be where me and my child has no emotional attachment. I'm not there. So I thank God for that. Now when I do get depressed, when I can't go through it, I'll be like, wait. So that is where my depression is, and I'm not in a negative mindset. I don't feel like I don't want to be here. I don't feel like, sometimes I could feel like I'm alone sometimes, but that's from being so strong and people just not checking on you. You get what I'm saying? Like when you text, I was like, it is people that care, but at the end of the day, I'm not even sharing this with everybody.
Right.
Everybody don't even know. So I feel that I can be so comfortable with you ladies and ask for prayer and all of that. And I thank God for that, because I don't feel that way with everybody. I don't feel like I could share that I'm depressed with everybody. So when you ladies text me and just check on me, it's like wonderful, So, yeah, that's it.
I was in the same situation where God had to sit me down. It was for 3 years.
Think about to get up there right. I was about to jump up.
Don't do that.
It's not. I wasn't like in a depressed state, because I was still positive. I was still upbeat. I mean, it was times where I was frustrated, but I think that's like in general, you get frustrated. But I'm talking about where it was that time where I was not working. I was unemployed for 3 years. And I was just coming off of a DUI, and having that on my record was really like, I'll get the interviews, I'll get this, but I'll fail the background check. But, so that's why I say it was during that 3-year time where I was just sitting down. But God told me, like, He had to deprogram me of how I was, so that He can't upload the way that He would want me to be, or the way He called me, or what He called me to be, right? But I mean, now that I'm looking back at it, I'm thankful for it. But during that time, I mean,
It didn't feel good.
it didn't feel good at all. I had big aspirations for my life. I didn't imagine myself being here. I was still playing basketball. I had a contract to Australia, and I was praying for that. I was praying, and I remember my pastor telling me, like, be specific with your prayers, like God would answer it. And at first I had like a list of 10 different countries I would be willing to play for. And she like, nah, narrow it down. He will give it to you. So I mean, Australia, Sydney, where I wanted to be, and then I get the contract. Long story short, it fell apart. Right? It had it. We going back, emailing back and forth, and then they come back and was like, you know what, we just gonna stick with the guard that we had with last year. And when I say that crushed me, it truly crushed me, and I was not understanding, because during that time, I mean, I'm getting close with God, because at that point I didn't have nobody else to depend on. I was just extremely close with God during that time. So when that happened, I was so crushed, and I did not understand. And I remember telling God, like, I don't want to hear that this is a test. I don't want nobody coming up to me talking about that this was a test, because and I said that, like, you know that I'm not going nowhere. At that point I had nowhere else to go. I know what it felt like not to know who God was at all. And then to actually encounter Him for real for myself, it's just like, God, like, you know I'm not going nowhere. So when all of that fell through, I'm just like, yo, like, what are you doing? Like, what is this? And I remember writing this long email to my pastor, just like, I feel like God took me up extremely high and then just dropped me. Because everything that I wanted, everything that I was living for, everything that I was praying about, like, it will be there, and then it will just be taken away. So I wasn't understanding, but God was just, God had me in a space where I could only depend on Him. God had me in a space where He allowed me to truly get to know Him, and then it allowed me to get to know myself.
Right.
And I remember saying to God, because I'm looking at everybody else, and they living their lives, their prayers is being answered and all of this, and I'm like, God, I feel like I'm in this elevator, the see-through elevator, glass elevator, right? And it's cool because I'm in there with God, right? Super close. I can hear God. I'm talking to God. He's showing favor, doing all this for me. But I'm like, but while I'm on this elevator and I'm going up with you, I'm seeing everybody else get out and they living their lives. Like, when am I going to get off of this elevator? You know, I just felt like I was just like closed in. And although it was good, I just like, when is it going to be my time? You know, and I wanted it so bad. And I'm just like, God, like, when is this going to be over with? And finally, I felt like I was off the elevator, but it still wasn't what I thought it was gonna be. You know, and now I'm just like, God, like, take me back in there with you. But God definitely sits us down for a reason. And it's that time where we do need to be by ourselves, or just in a space where we can only depend on God. Just in a space where only God understands what we're going through. Because if I was working during that time, I would have just been out doing my thing. Because I'm quick. Like, and I got the DUI and I was in jail for a long time. Like, for me. For me, it was a
Bridget looked like she
looked for me at the end of the sentence. I was like, okay, Candace, all right.
The first time I went to jail, it was just I had got the DUI. I mean, I was only in there for hours, like 7 hours. I got out, my car was towed, I got my car out, came home, whatever. I went to a party the next day. That same day that I got out. This is what I'm saying, like, God had to sit me down. And then even at that party, my hand got stuck onto this gate, like, you know, the little iron gates that, it got stuck in there, right? Yanked it out. I had to go to the hospital and get stitches. I went out again that same night.
And was determined to turn
I was just like in this whirlwind where, and he's just like, when are you going to chill
all
out?
these things I'm trying to,
you know, and then a year later I had went to jail and it was only for 7 days. Long time for me. And I don't care.
I've never been in jail, so that is a long time.
But the way you said it the first time,
She was like, I was in jail for a long time. This is like for me.
That thing, 7 days too long.
7
days too long. And then that's when I finally sat down.
Okay.
Finally sat down.
Yeah, you said it.
After that 7 hours, girl, I would have learned line.
Okay.
7 days after
That wasn't enough for her.
And I was in that space where I didn't know who God was at all. I mean, I believed in him, but it was no personal connection. It was into that second time. And it wasn't on, and I'll have to say this, it wasn't on no scared straight stuff. You feel me? And that's where the problem was. Because I'm in there. And a thought came up multiple times, like, this ain't even that bad. And then I had to think, like, who is that? This is bad. And that's why I was just like, something's not right.
Right.
For that thought to come up not once, not twice, but I'm like, nah, I don't know who that is.
Who's that speaking?
But we have to let her know. And that's when God stepped in.
That's real though. That's real. That is real.
oh my God.
Oh my.
People always laugh.
Oh my gosh. You said who? I don't know who said that. But it wasn't me. I can't do this.
I'm looking around. Who ain't got
This is not good.
And yeah, my mom was going to connection groups. I had no idea. She had invited me a couple times. I went just to show support for her. I'm like, oh, this is cool. But when I was in there and those thoughts kept coming, and I'm like, this is not right, because I know the aspirations that I have for myself. And for me to say, this not that bad, I'm like, oh, Mama, what's those things you was going to? And that's when I met you. And was going there every day, and that's when a God came into my life, and that's when I was unemployed for them times because of that DUI and all that other stuff. But God definitely set me down, and I'm most thankful for it today.
I was thinking that the first thing to, I think, anything such as depression is being aware of the state. And then the process of accepting, but you can only accept it if you understand that you can put perspective to it and be like, okay, I know it was God that put me through this for a specific reason. But I remember experiencing a situation with a friend, And this friend would always like appear to be happy, but it was like a time in her life where she felt like she wasn't where she needed to be. And I just remember her calling me, and I can hear the pills in her hand, like she's about to take the pills. And she's literally like telling me like she doesn't have anything to live for. And I feel so defeated because I didn't know what to do. Like I didn't know what to. I felt like if I said the wrong thing, it would push a button that would make her do it. But I didn't know, and I was so far from her. I was in Riverside, she was in LA. I didn't know what to do. But in that moment, that's when depression came real for me. I started, like, I feel like God opened my eyes to it, to the people that are close to me. People can appear to be okay. And just because a person can get up and keep moving forward does not mean that they're okay. And I think we have to remember that we are pulled in so many different directions. We have so many things requiring so much of us on a day-to-day basis that the easiest thing to do is to hook up with something that makes you feel good in the moment, such as alcohol or whatever it is. But I know that that feeling is not from God. That feeling is not something that is supposed to stick to us. And for some reason, a lot of people are feeling it, even now in this season. Like, and I'm saying that because I'm learning and studying more about suicide, and that is attached to depression. And people are going through this, and they're feeling like they have nothing to live for. And I just want to be like, I want to be used by God to speak life into people. Like, I'm asking God to give me those spiritual eyes that can see it when they're not saying it, to feel it when I hug them. Like, I just want to be used by God in that way. I personally haven't experienced it. I know as I'm getting older, there's some things that I'm saying, like, God, I'm about to be 36 and this ain't where I was supposed to be. And I catch myself, but I think it's because I'm older and my relationship with God is I have a strong relationship with God right now. It's the only reason why I feel like that may not be my situation at this time. But I'm saying nobody's exempt from it. And I know that if you're not grounded in God and stay connected to God, the mind could be, it's its own battlefield. The mind can take you to places, but it's also powerful because it can take you to places that you know you want to go in life, but it can also hold you back. And I think the first thing is awareness and accepting it, and not accepting it in a state of I'm okay with feeling this way, but understanding the reason to it, sitting me down, whatever it is, and moving forward and being a mouthpiece. I think this episode is so powerful because everybody is showing like where God like made you sit down and made you understand that it's not about whatever you looking at. It ain't even about that. Whatever you feeling, it ain't even about that. It's about me and you. And when you put that into perspective, I think it helps a little bit. But my biggest thing is if, for me, God used me. Use me to pray for my brother and sister out of the storm. Whatever I can do. And put me in the spaces where I may not recognize it in my flesh, but God in the spirit speak to me. So lately God has been telling me to text people and say, what you need prayer for? Like, what do you need prayer for? And everybody needs prayer. Everybody needs something right now. And so I'm just praying for you guys, whoever is going through it, whoever is feeling it, whoever has been through it. Don't brush your shoulder off because you haven't experienced it or you don't feel like it could ever come. You are not exempt. But to be very much connected to God so that when it does come, you are equipped to do it. Know that you have the authority to call it off.
Yeah, that's true. Because I feel like if I didn't have a relationship with God, I would be, it'd be
done deal. You'd be feeling
I would be
defeated.
For sure.
Yeah.
And now that my spiritual is higher, y'all know, I didn't know God. I didn't hear His voice. I didn't know. You get what I'm saying? And if I would have been where I am now without a relationship with God, all bets would be off.
Exactly.
I'm dead serious. The only reason why like I said, I still have I'm still in a positive depression state is only because I have a relationship with God. Only because my spiritual relationship has grown from where it was at a -0 to where it is now. If I didn't have no connection to God, I promise you I wouldn't be able to be here right now.
Right.
That's so true.
With me, when I first experienced depression, God didn't sit me down, but he put me in a place where I could go to nobody but him. Like, so it's like I had nobody else to rely on but him. And this is when I found out I was pregnant with my son. And this was my first testimony. Like, this is the first time I grew up in church. I knew who God was, but this is the first time that I went to him on my own, and I was able to experience him on my own without nobody like telling me. And a lot of people don't know this. Like, a lot of my family members don't know this. I only tell my testimony to this testimony to people that I come in contact with that needs to hear it. And my son don't even know this, but I tried to abort him. Like, I tried to abort my son 3 times. And each time that I went, God was like, no. He stopped it. Like, each time, it was always something. Like, every time I went down to the clinic, it was always something. And I'm just like, what the heck? Like, I just want to get this abortion and that's it. And move on with my life. But I heard him talking to me like, you could keep going ahead and keep trying to get this, but it's not going to happen. And I'm just like, ignoring him. Like, I don't care what you say, I'm getting this abortion. Like, I don't want no kid, right? I was 21 years old. No, I was 20. I had my son at 21. So, the last time I went, he basically told me, like, this is not going to happen. You could keep trying. It's not going to happen. So, like, the first and the second time that I went, it got to be something that's why you not letting me do this. So I'm just like, okay, whatever. So I went to my uncle. He's also my pastor, and I told him, like, I'm pregnant. I don't know what to do. And he was like, okay, well, I'm not going to tell you what to do. That's a decision that you have to make between you and God. And I'm just like, but I'm trying. But God, like, no. And he's like, okay. And I'm like, that's it? You don't got nothing else for me? And he told me, he was like, you talk to God, you pray to God, and I'll also throughout that process I'll pray with you. So for maybe almost a month, he would call and pray with me, and it was to a point where I just got on my knees and I'm just like, God, why aren't you letting this happen? Like, I don't want no kid. Like, me and my kid's dad, we was on the rocks. I had just lost my job, and I'm just like, I can't take care of a kid, and I'm not about to put this responsibility on my family. Like, no, this is my responsibility. So he kept giving me signs and everything, like, you could keep trying to do this, but it's not gonna happen. So I guess when I finally got to the point to accept it, it's like, almost a sense of peace came over me, but I was mad. I was pissed. I'm like, I'm only doing this because you won't let me. Like, I don't want no kid right now. So the following Sunday, we went to church, and we had a youth pastor. She was a guest speaker there. And my kid's dad went with me. And she called all the youth to the altar. So we all went to the altar. And she called my kid's dad up there. So he up there talking to her. And afterwards we talked about it, but he was like, yeah, she asked me who did I come here with, and he was like, oh, my girlfriend. And she ended up calling me up there. So my uncle, he like, thank you, Jesus, like, hallelujah, because he knows what's going on, like nobody else. And I'm just like, you doing the most right now. Like, so I went up there, and she's like, do you know God? Do you accept Jesus as your Lord and Savior? And I'm like, yeah. And she like, okay, God said you don't have nothing to worry about. And I'm like, I don't know what's going on with me. Like, she never said that she knew that I was pregnant or nothing. And she was like, God wants you to trust him. And everything you need, he gonna supply it. And I'm just like, okay, so, I accept that, whatever. So I finally told like my mom, my family about it or whatever. And when we had my son baby shower, we did not have to buy anything. Like he supplied. The only thing we had to do was buy like the mittens that go on your hands or whatever. But just like God said, you know, I won't have to worry about anything. I didn't need anything. And it's crazy because I know that my son has a calling and the anointing on his life, because I felt like the enemy was coming after him before he was even born. And I'm just like, this is crazy. But me and my mom always had like a rocky relationship. We had gotten into a fight and we didn't talk for a year before I got pregnant. Me and my dad, I didn't like some things sometimes how my dad treated me, because I have 2 little brothers, and I felt my dad wasn't always in my life like he should have been, you know, on a consistent basis. But it's like you putting all your time into my little brothers, but you didn't do that with me, and I didn't like that. So I felt some way about my dad, and I didn't tell him. When I told him that I was pregnant, I sent him a baby shower invitation in the mail, and that's how he found out. Because my little brothers, like, they were in sports and everything. It's like my dad would wait to the last minute to call and tell me like, oh, they got a game or whatever, or I would call and just so happen it's like a family event or they had a game or something, and I'm just like, okay, I want you to feel how I feel. Like, I want to be there for my little brothers. I want to be in there, within their life. And my dad, he probably didn't even notice, like, but when that opportunity was presented, I told him, I'm like, well, I wanted you to feel how I feel. You don't invite me to stuff. I'll call you, and this is how you invite me to stuff. But I feel like my son was that person that brought me and my mom back together, that helped me and my dad form a relationship. And me and my dad got the best relationship right now. But it's like, when I told my mom, I think she was a little disappointed in me or whatever, but she was like, I have nothing to worry about. I'm going to be there for you and your kid. And just like God had told me through that lady, like, you're not going to have nothing to worry about. But that put me in depression, because it's like, I felt like no one understood. My whole pregnancy, I was miserable. Like, I didn't want to get up out of bed. I didn't want to go to no doctor's appointment, like nothing. Like, I was really depressed, but it's like I had no other choice but to sit there and soak in God's presence. Like, so and I'm thankful for that now, but it's like everyone said, while you going through it, it hurts. It don't feel good. You don't, it's something that you don't want to have to, get up and do. But I'm thankful for it, and that was my first testimony, so I'm really thankful for it. Like, I'll have no problem telling that testimony at all.
It's interesting because when you're going through it, it's painful.
Right.
It feels like, for me, like my heart was ripped out my chest. But the way I can minister or talk or even give advice or just reach out, it's like it removes a blanket from your eyes to where you're able to see people hurting even if they don't tell you. Because before that, I had friends in high school that were depressed, and I would talk to them and I'd do my best, like, I'm here for you, friend, whatever you need. But until it happened to me, then I was able to kind of understand, oh, it's like a wave. Like, it's like a tidal wave that pulls you in. And if you don't have the spiritual equipment to fight with, it'll take you over.
Yeah. I always tell myself that, like, either you're going to sink or swim.
Yeah.
Like, I'm going to let it get the best of me, or I'm going to defeat it. You know what I'm saying? And I remember a time where I was depressed, but I didn't know I was depressed. I would tell myself, girl, ain't nothing wrong with you. Ain't nothing wrong with you. But I really was, remember earlier how we was talking about birth control, and I was on like the depot shot. And when I got off of the depot shot, I would be finding myself crying.
The hormones.
And I'm like, what's wrong? Like, the whole time I was depressed. I was in a depressed state, but I would be telling myself, ain't nothing wrong with me. Ain't nothing wrong with me. So now that I'm older, I'm wiser. Now that I'm in depression, it's like, oh no, girl, you depressed. Like, don't be telling yourself ain't nothing wrong with you. Something is wrong with you. You get what I'm saying? So now it's like different from when I was younger and not really knowing what depression was, or when I did get a case of depression with that dark cloud just sitting over me, I start noticing as I got older, I'm like, oh, it was certain people that would put me in depressions too. I could get around certain people and I'd be depressed. When I get around them, like, you suck the life out of me. And it coming home to a person that puts you in depression every day, a dark cloud. You get what I'm saying? To where you find yourself sitting in a car, don't want to go in the house because the minute you walk in this house, you depressed. You get what I'm saying? That's how I was at 25, 26. I didn't know I was in depression. I didn't know I was going to Target for nothing, just to not go in the house with this particular person. You get what I'm saying? I didn't know I was depressed. So now that I'm older, I learned how to, like I said, I'm not losing weight or no edges over nobody. Nobody. Me being depressed is my own
Put that
personal.
on the shirts.
It's personal.
For real.
I'm serious.
For real, that's a slogan.
That is. I'm not losing weight or my edges.
Don't try to take it either.
Period.
TM, trademark.
Period. I'm not.
Right.
My depression that I'm going through is a personal depression. It's for myself. You know what I'm saying? Like when you said, and like y'all said, God probably trying to sit you down. When I leave up out of here, that's what I'm going to be telling myself, even if it ain't true. God is trying to sit me down. You get what I'm saying? So at the end of the day, it's like, I'm older and I'm wiser and I know I'm accepting things for what they are, but I'm not in depression because of a breakup. I'm not in depression because of another person. My depression is personal. So like you said, you have to identify your depression. Understand, why are you depressed? Is it a person that's making you depressed? Is it a personal depression because you feel like you're not where you're supposed to be, or your friend is here and now you're comparing yourself to this person? Is it that? You got to identify the reasons why you are depressed. Me, this is postpartum depression. I identified it and now I'm trying to defeat it. You get what I'm saying? So if you defeat it, if you identify why you're depressed, what's making you feel this way? Who is it that's making you feel this way? I don't care if it's your closest friend. You could love her to death, but if you feel some type of way when you get in her zone or her area, you probably got to detach and work on yourself. You know?
Like I was saying, with age 29, I was sitting there and I was feeling it. I had anxiety. And I was just, I'm about to be 30. I'm not where I'm at. Like, and God was like, okay, what makes you feel like you're not enough? What makes you feel like you ain't accomplished? What things would you want to accomplish? Then I put it down, and when I started looking at it, I'm like, okay, then he gave me a plan of action. Okay, so what do you need to work on? Because the only person in your way is you. So then I had to work on myself, and then even going into, 30, going into 30, I was in stress. Just stress, and I was like, God, I just want to be better. I want to do better. And it was some things I had to take away, including my hair. My hair had to go. I had to take all my hair off. And it was just little things, like not just physical, but it was more spiritual. It was more emotional. Like I need to get everything, that every hat that I'm wearing, every assignment, everything that I'm used to, I gotta get it off of me because I need to be the person that I need to be walking into this, so I'm not crazy. And then another thing that I would say with our community in postpartum depression, for me, people said it as if people hurt their babies. So I was like, that's what we know as postpartum depression. Everybody's like, oh, if you want to hurt your baby, that's postpartum. But it's so many different things that we don't think is postpartum because, and that's why I have an affinity, because so many people like, even when you said, oh, I'm getting back 2 weeks, boom, 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 I'm like, God, I'm praying for her even now, because people think, oh, you just have a baby, boom, and it's done. You might have did that first baby, second baby, but third baby's different. And then people are like, okay, I got my businesses, I got my life, I got my job. But sometimes you really just need to take a moment and like, okay, what's going on with my body? What's going on? Because everything is not just gonna come like that. And then we in our life community and social media, it's this thing of snapping back. What the heck is that about? Like your body gotta automatically snap back. So many people after they have their baby is in depression because their body not the same. And your body
I didn't eat for for 2 weeks after Josiah, cause
People
I
be
was trying to
tripping.
snap back.
You can't.
But
It's in your mind. Like
I don't know why I didn't eat.
it's the, I would say it's the enemy, because it's making people feel like you need to be a certain way, you need to look a certain way, you need to sound a certain way. And see, I need to get in the gym while I'm pregnant. Are you kidding me? You in the gym while you pregnant?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
I don't know.
I mean, if you're
I
walking
have
on
enough
a
energy.
treadmill.
Walking on a treadmill, but it's people out here literally lifting
really
weights,
doing it.
trying to make sure that they look muscular during their pregnancy. It's a time for everything. Like it said in the Bible, it's a time for everything. It's a season. And it's your season to kind of sit down a little bit. Just chill. But
I was going to say that because we have to keep in mind that we are created to elevate, to grow, to move, we are never supposed to stay the same.
Right.
So everything is going to mature, and if you don't get this in place and everything else is maturing, you're going to feel like
it's
you're
a
stuck.
problem.
It's a problem.
And that's
it's like it's not adding up. And who said that 30s is bad? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's the world that puts that stuff on that makes us feel like, because now that I'm 35,
I'll tell everybody how your black don't crack.
and I'm going to tell everybody, okay, I'm
Look how beautiful she is.
But I have to say that I was feeling like 30s was old. When I was in my 20s and like 18, like, ooh, I don't want to be. But as I got closer, it's like, no, like I know me better than I've ever. And I only know me in this way because of God. But that of which I thought I knew back then and who I thought I was, no, I didn't know nothing. That's why some of the stuff that we have to tackle today is because of those things that we thought we knew about us back then.
Right.
And it's like, it's not even that, but we're supposed to, everything, and I think I said this before, but everything grows. The grass grows, the trees grow, flowers grow, everything grow. We were created to be above all those things. So we too have to grow.
Right.
Change has to come. And if you don't adapt to the change, then you're going to feel like you've lost. But no, you have to grow. You don't, that is just...
That's true. Like, even with the comparison, like how I compared me having the 2 kids. Like, for instance, I had 2 kids. I snapped back. My stomach was flat when he came out. You know, it wasn't nothing. Now I'm like, I think I need lipo because I didn't lose the stomach. But I'm comparing this child and how this birth was with one when I was 21.
Right.
One when I was 25. Now I'm 33. It's totally different. So that could put you in depression.
Well.
You know what I'm saying? Like comparing, like, oh, this would happen then. And it's like, no, that ain't who you are.
Right.
You have grown. You've grown a stomach. You've grown some side rows. You've grown. Like, you know, and that's okay.
Back breaths.
You gotta be okay with
Embrace it.
You know, but that all of that could put you in a place.
We have people leaving newborns because they feel like they don't want to miss out on nothing.
Yeah.
Wait, what?
You have people that are literally had a baby and okay, you see here, I gotta go do this.
Yeah.
Because they don't want to miss out on the action. Because they look. Jeff was like, I was in the house 6 weeks. Me too. I was in the house 6 weeks, but I see people pop a baby out and then they out the next day because they don't want to miss out on the action, whether it be fun, whether it be business, whether it be their job, whatever it is, because they feel like the world is moving so fast, we don't have time to sit down.
It's just the world that we live in today. Like, and even like with being in your 30s, like, because I turned 30 in December, and I'm like, I thought I would have had a house. I thought I would have had a husband.
Okay,
it's so different than how it was back in the day. It was so much easier. Like, in this world today, it's so much harder to live in. Like, the cost is going up. Like, everything. Like, you need help with everything nowadays. So it's like, okay, I had to tell myself that. And it's like, if that was meant for me to have it, I would have it. Like, so... And I knew that was the enemy coming in my thoughts. Like, girl, you 30, you got 2 kids, you a single mother, and you living at home with your mama and your granny. And I'm just like, you know what?
We ate ourselves.
We chilling. We good over here, though. Like,
I was so happy I turned 30, and I just turned 30 last week.
You was happy?
I felt so good to be out of my 20s. Like
You was like, it's
That was a good perspective.
I was just over
You
that
can leave
whole
that
little
right where it
decade
was.
right there. Like I just feel like I'm on to something
You
new.
fresh.
Exactly.
That's time.
So I'm
Yeah.
super excited
Yeah.
about my 30s, and I do stay at home with my mama and my
Let me let you know right now.
We good.
It's in the plan.
I'm super excited. Like,
That's funny.
I mean, but that's like with society, like the world that we live in, that's what they push. Like, you know, like,
Yeah.
it's people who's like 22, 23, 25 years old, they got their own house right now. So it's like, you look at that and you be like, dang, I'm 30 years old and this person, how old? And they got this, they got that. But
And sometimes those people can't go back home.
exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
They
Like,
gotta fight. They
I can't go home.
Yeah.
I don't have a mother's home to go to. So at the end of the day, you never know what that person is battling because they got their own place or they have to be so independent because they don't have nobody
That's true.
to go home to.
In the world that we live in, they
You know
also
what
put
I'm
on
saying?
a facade. They don't say that. They don't say,
Yeah.
"Oh, I don't have no."
No.
They put it like, "Oh, you still live with
Yeah.
mom.
Yeah.
You ain't this. You ain't
And the
that."
only reason why is
It's a lot of
because you don't
judgment.
have no mama to go home and stay with. You don't
Yeah.
have nowhere to go. So you have no other option but to be what you
But to
are.
get
So that's
it,
why
right.
because like I said, comparing and contrasting and not knowing what a person is going through. You get what I'm saying? That's why I tell people like, okay, it's a new year. Don't try to make it your best year. Just try to make it better than whatever last year was. You get what I'm saying?
there too.
Don't try to. This gonna be our best year.
Y'all better not
No.
be stealing our stuff.
Just make it a better year than what it was before.
Absolutely.
Because people like, this gonna be my best year. No, if this gonna be your best year and you only 30 and you just turned 30, come on now. 30 gonna be your best year.
do.
Make it
Absolutely.
Yeah, make this year better than the year it was. Make yourself better than who you was before. Instead of looking at somebody else and comparing for trusting. Because I probably stay where I stay, but I can't go home. I gotta grind hard as hell. I gotta get up in the morning. I gotta do what I gotta do because I don't got nobody to go live with. I don't got a mama and a grandmama that I could go and stay with comfortably and be like, we good. But if I did, I'll be at my granny house and my mama's house. Like, we good. You get what I'm saying? So you have to be mindful, like, people do that and you never even know their backstory.
That's true.
Yeah.
So,
That all comes along with sharing your truth.
exactly.
Yes.
Exactly.
This is Share Your Truth.